for me and also for the rest of the Gender Equality Committee to have with us Zulema Altamirano, who is the director of the Women and Science Unit at the Spanish Science and Innovation Ministry. Zulema has an extensive experience in gender issues, and she is actually an expert in gender-based violence. And she also worked as a seconded national expert at Eurogender, which is a cooperation hub of the European Institute for Gender Equality. And she will give us today an update on how the Women and Science Unit works towards gender equality, and also how the policies will be implemented, gender policies will be implemented and impact science in the midterm, well, in the future. So thank you, Zulema, for being here today with us. It's really a great pleasure to welcome you here with us at the CABD seminars. And thank you all the participants for being here also today. When you want, you can
Thank
start.
you so much. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you for your invitation. It's, believe me, it's a great pleasure for me also to join you today and to share with you the state of the art of these gender gaps that we still have in research and innovation, and also to share with you and to update you in the role of the Women and Science Unit and steps I'm doing. I'm with a small team because we are not so many. It's me, myself, and with two partners I have for the international part, because I'm a work package leader in 3 projects on gender equality from Horizon 2020. On top of that, I'm also the gender equality unit at the ministry level. In each ministry, there is one gender equality unit, and it's me. And last but not least, I am the secretariat of the Observatorio of Women, Science and Innovation. It is an interministerial board or committee that is also following, we will talk about it later on, but is doing a follow-up on these gender equality, gender gaps that we still have in research and innovation, and also pushing forward, moving forward in some areas to have real changes, real advances. So thank you so much for this time. We were talking before on how to do the presentation. What I will do first is to present briefly. I will try not to go farther, more than 45 minutes. Let's see, because normally I talk a lot. And then we will have time for questioning, and we can go more into detail in some of the aspects of the presentation that I'm introducing you today. So my idea is to talk first about all of those key gender gaps that are still in science and research. What are the main areas of improvement? Then to talk about what the Women and Science Unit is and what it's doing, and then what is our roadmap for the future. And there it will be great for you to provide some feedback on what you have in mind, or some ideas, something that you are doing, something you think might be interesting to art, whatever. I will be really happy to have this feedback from your side. So let's start with the gaps. First, with the positive things, with the positive good news. The good news is that Spain is over the average of researchers, female researchers, and at the EU level is 33.8%. In Spain, according to Eurostat, it's 40.5%. Or out of all researchers, 40.5 are women. According to our report, Científicas en Cifra, that is the report that we release every 2 years, this percentage is 39%. So there is this little gap, but it still is the situation as a whole is okay. But as an expert in gender equality, I always say that we are like in it is not we are blur of gender equality. If we look at the data like that, we don't have anything to complain. We women in the world in general, about talking about gender equality, we have everything. We can even vote, we can work, we can study, we can do whatever we want. Then we go a bit more in deep, we see we are not everywhere. For instance, the last at the end of the previous month in October, it was released. I don't know if you know it. Gloria was before talking about the IGE, the European Institute for Gender Equality. I was working there for 2 years, and I was part of the team that was developing the index, the Gender Equality Index. This is the one that was released now in October, with the data of from 2019. There, we could see that Spain is again, like here, is better than the average. We are 72 out of 100, and we are in 8th position on top of the list. We have Nordic countries, and there is Spain. So compared to Europe, we are quite well in real equality, real gender equality, because this is not measuring how good our laws, our plans, our strategies related to gender equality are. No, this is telling us we are citizens, depending on we are men or women, if we are we have equal access to opportunities, how is our salary compared to the other sex, etc. So if we look at the picture in a broader way, it is okay. But if we look at it going into detail into the domains, we will see that there's not so many women in decision making. We have that problem in research and in science. In Europe is 53.5 out of 100. In Spain is 69. So we are better than Europe, but still there is not so many women at decision-making level, not in the boards, and that where we want equal balance, 40-60, you know, or in individual CEOs, no, business, in the case of business. And in our case, coming to our area, what we want is to have members of management boards, of the committees, and also directors, no, of in research public RFOs or RPOs, no, the research public organizations or research funding organizations. So this is to tell you that we can look at the picture, look at the glass, half full or half empty. I always look at it half full, as you can see here. And now we will see what are the areas of improvement, what are the main gaps that we have in our case with this whole framework, and how the society is this as a whole, how is the situation in research and innovation. The key main gender gaps are in these pictures. The first one is horizontal segregation, we call it formally. It is we don't have enough women in the professions, the jobs of the future, especially engineer or technology or ITs. Previously we were talking about, I mean, normally we talk about STEM, but now we know that among STEM, we have an important gap, especially in technologies, in engineering, in IT, in the jobs of the future. So this is scientific vocations. No? Second gap is the maternity stigma or work-life balance that is affecting women mostly. If you look at it in average, in general, in Europe, a woman that is working 40 hours per week, it is dedicating plus 21 hours to homework. I mean, yeah, homework, no, house, how do you say? Duties of the house, no, household, and caring duties in the house. And men in the same situation, 40 hours per week working outside home, then is dedicating 9 hours. I'm sure that all men that are listening to me now, they will upgrade this number of hours, but still we can see that here it is a reality that in research we have the reflection of the same gap in society. Another one that is very specific, it is affecting many areas, but it's also specific of the area of research, especially because of the research career for women and men. It is bias, gender bias. There is unconscious bias that are affecting selection. There are unconscious bias that are affecting evaluation. And evaluation is key for career in research. Therefore, we have to work hard to make sure that there is more objectivity in this process, that we all are aware, members of these committees and evaluation and selection, they are aware that there is this meta bias that is like, no, I don't have any bias, because we all have. So we need to know them, and we need to make sure that our processes, they are objective. to ensure that there is no bias unconsciously affecting or promoting or overgrading men over women in selection processes. From those last two, this leaking pipeline that we know, this phenomenon, and that is that we are losing women once that the career, the research career is evolving. We are losing women, we are losing talent. The ones that they can talk probably are the ones that they had it easily for many reasons. Maybe they have a good mentor, maybe because of the area of research they are working, because they have a partner that is working, is responsible or co-responsible at home with the members, with the kids and the dependents. But we need to talk with those that they are not, that they have to decide between a family project or more personal life, or as a career in research. So that is another phenomenon that is also one of the key ones while talking about gender gaps in science. And the last one is what is happening with this pandemic. We were concerned. I started in March this year as director of the Women and Science unit, and since then we were keeping a close eye on what was going on, how this pandemic could affect two ways: to the women, to research in general, but then with a gender perspective, meaning that we have to compare what can be different, what can be equal, what can be a problem equally for men and women that are doing research, but also what can be different because of all the other things that you can see on the screen, that there are dynamics, gender roles, gender stereotypes, gender norms, that they are as they are, and they might affect, and they might be an obstacle due to the pandemic for women in research more than for men. And the other side, anything we are researching we know that the pandemic is affecting the COVID, the coronavirus is affecting economically, first in the health, then socially, and then economically. So when looking at it, we have to do it with a gender perspective as well, ensuring that anything that we are, that is the focus of our research, of your research, it includes in a mainstreaming manner, it is called, gender perspective, just in case there is something that we cannot see. If we look at the surface, but then we go deeply, we can see there might be some difference, that they need different measures to close these gaps that we might be seeing. Let's see some data very briefly connected to each one of those gaps. The first one is connected to what is going on in science, in vocations, for children or for young, or from universities. What we have here is data not from universities, but from researchers. So from our from our science, Científicas en Cifras, our report, you can see here what is the personnel working in research in our universities and public and RPOs, according to the area of where they are researching. So the one with less female personnel researchers is the one in engineering and technology. I was mentioning before, is 28%. As you can see, there is no change between 2013 to 2016, and there are some other areas that they are more with we call this horizontal segregation, because for girls, since we are 5, you know that this role definitions starts, and in general, it might be fortunately exceptions, we start thinking that we are not so good at maths, we don't have so much interest, and we are educated formally and informally in the ethic of caring. This is everything around us is still based on this ethic of caring. If we go to the supermarket, you go to the Corte Inglés, you will see the pink toys aisle, and then maybe there is not so much blue. Now it's blue, green, depends, but the green one, the pink one is pink, and it's because of this ethic of caring that is guiding in a subtle manner, is guiding what we like as girl and what they like or you like as boys. This one is going and is set in the basement for deciding if we don't have role models, if we do not play with different toys that is opening or inspiring us in liking things that might be related to research, related to some areas that they are not typically connected to what it is feminist or masculinism. No, feminism, masculinism, what is typical from girls, typical from boys. If we do not go there, and it is not the aim of my ministry, but of the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender Equality, but we all know that we have an issue there. We have to start from there, because then, for instance, at university level, only 14.5% of of women are enrolled in IT, and 34% are enrolled in engineering, compared to health or to social science or to philology, or those areas more connected to humanistics. There you have the percentages are much higher. And then even from the universities, we can see here, if they eventually decide to work and to research in these areas, you can see now the graph, no, that the graphic that is showing that the one where you have more representation is in philology, humanistics, and social science, but then health. But then we still have an issue in some of them. At least we should have 40%, no, to consider it as a gender balance. What about leaves and absence? Do you remember the stigma of maternity? I told you how many hours per week. That is the average is the same in Europe and as in Spain. Those data you can find them in INE, in our Instituto Nacional de Estadística. What I show you here, sorry that I didn't have time to translate the column on the left side, is what's going on with civil servants in general, not in our ministry, but in general, to show you something that is quite interesting. We are civil servants in research. You are maybe lower personnel or civil servant as such, and here you can see what is going on. If we have very interesting leaves and license, if they are paid, there is equality between number of men and women in the public administration, not in the national government public administration. 50% in the case of 4 weeks for lactancia. What about? Sorry. What about flexibility to take care of the kids? You know that in the morning or in the afternoon, we have 1 hour that we can ask for flexibility to start a bit later, and that is paid. There you can see that there are many men, many colleagues that they take the kids and they take them to the school. What about the ones that they are not paid? They are the last 3. Then leave for taking care, like going out from the labor market, for taking care of kids under 3, you decide not to take them to the kindergarten, then look, it's 80% of women compared to 20% of men. If you just have a part-time or reduce your working time, 80% of women, 20% of men. If you reduce your time because you have minus 12, it's again 75%. And what about flexibility to take care of other dependents that they are not your kids? That is paid. And look, here is showing the stereotype. Okay, with this one, it doesn't matter that I'm paid or not, but I really think that you take care of your mother or my mother much better than I do. So here, this one is showing stereotypes and traditional role models. The others they are showing might be, we should have a study showing those that they have a partner also working in the public administration to see if this is due to the situation that in the case of public employees we have security. No? When even we ask for these leaves, we don't have impact in our job, I mean, promotion or losing our job. That is my one reason. And the other one is to see if still in this situation that we are, there might be still those role models that it might be affecting women more than men, looking at development of a professional career. I was talking before about bias. These bias, they are coming from a documental. I don't know if you have the chance of seeing it. It is called Picture a Scientist. It was released, it was launched in June of this year from USA. Sorry. It is about how is life for female scientists in the USA. And it is, I strongly recommend it to you because it's showing all these bias and taking them from there. And it's also showing one of the key bias that might affect the life of women in research and the professional career, that is sexual harassment. My personal view while looking at this documental, they were asking me, and we have this debate on it, this open debate, an open invitation to talk about it. I think in Spain, there is an important gap that is this one that is called maternity stigma. The work-life balance is one of the key stigmas for women because it's showing what is going on in society is reproducing in the life of women researchers. And not so much connected to sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is happening, but women in Spain, I think we are quite empowered. There's the fact that we are far away. I mean, we are on those 8 key countries on the top in terms of gender equality. It made us quite aware of what we are okay to face and we are not, or to cope with, and we are not able to cope with. Still, all these bias might be something that you can find as women, as women in your where you work. One of them I mentioned before is this evaluation bias, no? That is still unconsciously with the same curriculum. If your name is Maria, anyone. This is an investigation, a research that it was psychological one that is mentioned in this video. If the name of the curriculum is Maria, everyone in this study was grading it, scoring it with less score than in us if the name was Mario. And the only thing that was different was the name. And everyone, women and men, that was evaluating, was checking this curriculum. It was evaluating it worse if it was Maria than it was Maria. And I think that is very important to show us that we have to work to ensure objectivity in our evaluations, and also to make us aware on our bias. Might be gender bias and might be bias of another type. This one that is not part of the group, and that was, I'm sorry for the grammatical mistake. And this was quite interesting. It might be in some areas, areas of research, you are accepted, but still there is something subtle that is not making you feel that you are really part of the group. They allow you to be, but you are not part of the group. That is a phenomenon that is called in psychology, in social psychology, the dominant group versus the non-dominant group. And there are lots of characteristics connected to this dominant group. And then the other ones, you can be there, but you are never part of the group. That is also quite interesting. There is also this bias that they were mentioning, that is to be treated as technical person. And you might be incredible researcher and top in your career, but still you have people around you that informally they think that you are technical person. There is also quite interesting this mentioning of physically to have less space for research. There's one of these women in the documental that is talking about it. Is mentioning that she was at night measuring the space that for the rooms that they have for their thesis for researching, and in average they have an issue with that. They were in average women, and not only it was not only in her faculty, but in it was a broader research. They found that there are more quadrat meters dedicated or entitled for men than for women. That was quite interesting, because these are these things that you cannot see if you look at the picture without going a bit, not scratching, going a bit deeper into it. They do not receive the credit that they deserve. It's these feelings of some women in research that they have to make a greater effort or to gain that credibility, showing, argumenting, debating more. They are not taking seriously, or they are not receiving that credit. There is a syndrome called in Spanish síndrome del impostor. That's why some women, when they are invited to big conference and seminar to talk about the area, they think with this syndrome, is unconscious bias, that there is always someone that is better than me to talk about it. No, and you can do it as well as somebody. For sure, there is still this room, but the problem, and that is quite interesting also, and another data, is that when you have a promotion and you see the job description, there is normally, this is another study, if you do not match 100% of the requirements, women, we do not apply. That is general. And men, only with matching 80%, they just try, just in case. And that is not, it's not something that is better for some and worse for the others. It's just a fact that is showing, and this is coming from what I was talking before, that how demanding or how secure we are as women, how we are educated, and all this complex process of socialization. All this is behind, and is bringing us to making these choices while developing our career. And that is also connected to these skill questions. You have the feeling that unconsciously our skills are questioned, continuously or not continuously. It doesn't have to be by men, but also by men, by women. It seems that we have to defend, we have to explain, we have to take more time in defending, in showing that I'm competent enough for this, that time, that energy is energy that our colleagues, men, they are investing in more research. So that is something that it was in this video, and I found it really interesting. Also about reputation, and this about reputation, it was quite interesting. This is very connected to sexual harassment. If you have an IP researcher well known and well acknowledged in this area, and is asking you to explain your paper with a beer, even though you say no, around you, if people that may know that he was inviting you, it will be your reputation question, not his. He was the one asking you, where you're saying no, but consciously or unconsciously, the dynamics, that the social dynamics that they're around is not only research, but here is more painful somehow, because the impact in your career is huge. Then the focus is going to be on you, and how it is. So you didn't do anything, and you have to defend yourself and your reputation. No? One more is this gender pay gap. This might, we should have like 1 hour more time to talk about the gender pay gap, but it says equal, same money, same salary for job of equal value. That is the adjudged gender pay gap, and the non-adjudged gender pay gap is female in the market, male in the market, and we have the average of salary per hour, the gross salary per hour. We will see that in Spain the gap is 60%. And in the public administration, I have the opportunity to develop a study last year, and we found in general in our administration, with data of 180,000 employees, the productivity wasn't included, but yes, the others, it was like 10,000 employees coming from this ministry, from the Ministry of, at that moment, Science and Innovation at the universities. And we found a gap in general in the administration of 5.2. We found a gap in our ministry of 6.2, and we found a gap men were being paid more than women in this are non-unjust. The gross of men, the all men and all women salary per hour, and for laboral personnel, women, they were more paid. The pay gap was more for them, 2.88. This is showing us that men, they are more civil servants, and women, they are more in the roles and in the categories of personal laboral. That is also showing the vertical segregation, no? This leaking pipeline, this jumping from this type of contracts to this more permanent and stability in your career is also showing and is having an impact in this gender pay gap. I will just stop here with the gender pay gap. If you have more questions, you ask me later. And the maternity stigma, we were talking about it before, no? That some women, they try for this social pressure not to ask for so many leaves, because then everyone is with this, it is motherhood bias, it is called. They think if you are a mother, you do not pay so much attention or be so good in your in the development of your career and the achieving your targets. The leaking pipeline, this is just, I was explaining before, I was just show you what it is in data. These you have, these data are also coming from their scientific in features, científicas en cifras. Percentage of women and men entering at the university, finishing university, then enrolling in master, finishing master, enrolling in a PhD, finalizing the PhD, and then starting their career in research, no, with a grade D, C, B, and A. You can see here with these scissors. Sometimes they call it the scissors. Also, how do you say the scissors graph? You can see that it shouldn't be this huge gap. Well, going at the last, at the top, you know, of the career, and there is where we have a lot of work to do. To first analyze what is going on there, and second to implement measures for this, at least to reach gender balance, no, this 40-60. I think it should be parity, no, this because there are enough women good enough for gathering or for checking, or for at least for having the option to go there, and for this work-life balance, this bias not to be an obstacle. For instance, now we have 12% of women rectorates. In rectorates, 12% are women, and in the committees, the rectorate committees in our research public organizations, it is not. It doesn't reach 30%. I think it's 30% that is reaching. So this is just data to show you where the main gaps are. And let's go now to this information I was providing related to the impact of COVID and the work we were doing in the Women and Science unit. We did 3 things. The first one is that was released it was a short publication with recommendation. It was released in June. There we were highlighting how important was to look at the pandemic, the impact of the pandemic of the coronavirus with a gender perspective, focusing in the data disaggregation by sex and looking at gender analysis. That was the key. Secondly, thinking that even though this disease is affecting more men in a more serious manner, the ones that they are on the front line are women. They are the ones in health. Therefore, might be consequences for there that we are not seeing. Might be more risks of infection because they are being in the front line. And third, that was the one I was mentioning before, is how this is impacting the career of our a woman working in research, because of this confinement situation, we might have difficult combination of work-life balance. The recommendations, you have them here as a summary, more training pre-doc stage for them to learn from the very beginning how to integrate this analysis in any project and research that they are developing. in not only at the beginning of how to do it, but also ensuring that all phases of the projects, they have a disaggregated analysis, not only in the data, but also, for instance, in the role of the members of a team, like who is doing what. It might be that we are reproducing this tendency of women caring, women more things, that they are more social and they are less formal, and they don't have that much impact comparing to the ones that men are doing in a team. Gender equality expertise in commissions. Any commission should keep this gender balance, and also while deciding measures and actions, they should be also advised, or in coordination with experts, that they know how to integrate a gender perspective. We were checking the gender impact. We were also doing this, and we were advising how important is the gender impact for future calls of RFOs. Let's see if in the future RFOs, how is this calls, how is this the resolution of the calls doing, and let's analyze this gender impact. To reinforce the structural chain approach in RPOs as well. That is very important, is to ensure that where we are researching, we have an organization where the culture is equal, is focused, and is going for gender equality. And last but not least, as you have seen, the Minister of Science and Innovation increase budget. That is a key element for everything, and also for gender equality and for integrating the gender perspective in research, also for COVID. Second, we went more deep into this situation in our researchers. We wanted to analyze how was their situation during these 3 months of confinement. We were developing and launching a questionnaire. The questionnaire was with 30 questions, I think, and it was. We wanted to check how the situation was in terms of work-life balance, how was this affecting the scientific production and the research activities that people was developing these 3 months, and what was the impact on the perception in other areas. The participation, I think, is here. No, it's not here. So the participation, we were launching it to all of our RPOs. The participation was 1,556. That was analysis. The success response was 13%. The response rate we have, and what we found in a descriptive manner, the main analysis, we were comparing those that they have dependents at home with them with those that they don't have them, because the closing of the schools and because of the lack of external caring for maybe elderly dependents. So 71.3% of women and 64%, they were stressed. There was more distressful to achieve their activities, and look, those without responsibilities, for 50% for other reasons, they were. So we can see that there might be an important gap due to this work-life balance, to these caring duties that they have to take care of. And this is quite interesting as well, that the two graphs that you have there, you have the daily time dedicated to home activities. Men, they were dedicating more between 1 to 2 hours, and women, they were more in the area of 3 or plus 3. I mean, comparing one to the other, those men more for less hours, women for more. And in the other graph, for care activities, I really for me, the most interesting data is the one that is telling us that 57.3% of women that they have children at home or dependents at home, they were dedicating more than 5 hours or more, compared to 43%. That time, that percentage of women is there are women that they were not dedicating this time to sleep, to themselves, or to work, or to produce. This is where one of the key areas that we wanted to highlight is like, okay, what are you, how are you coping with achieving your work while dedicating so many hours to care duties? How was the scientific production? What we found is that they managed to reach the average, to keep up with the scientific production. We were asking how many papers or articles or books you were presenting during this time. So there was no such a huge difference between women and men. But what we found is that they were catching up. They maintained the production, but they were slightly producing more. If you have more time and you are saving time of meetings or like traveling, it's time that you might be. This is one of the things that we were quite concerned. In the scientific community, they were like flagging with red flag. No, they might be that it's not that women they are producing less, but men they are producing more. Either one or the other, we might have a problem in the future when this developing, with this promotion in the future in the research careers. There was also interesting to see how was the impact in their health, not only in the physical health, but also in terms of stress. There were more women than men that could not have any spare time daily. There were more women than men that they have an impact. They acknowledge an impact on the physical health. And there's also this impact on mental health, more for women than for men. This is not making the difference between those with or without dependence. But the study is providing us with interesting data for us to analyze how is the well-being of our researchers and how it might be different and how what was going on at home it is affecting what is going on at work. What we found with this data is nothing different from previous researches. What we found, it was like to amplify and to make it more visible the reality of women in research. As we were saying, the gender gaps, we already know them, but one of the key gaps that is we have to do something with the caring responsibilities and with the work-life balance. We have to work on that part. This survey is helping us a lot in making this more visible. All this information you have it on the website in the space of gender equality, and all the reports are there. And the third thing we did, I was telling you, there was one more thing. It was the minister, Pedro Duque, wanted to have a meeting and to know directly from researchers for women, for young women, how did they cope with the situation. So it was very interesting. There were 6 top women researchers, and with and without caring duties. We wanted to have a reflection on and a representation of different issues and different profiles. And out of this interesting meeting, there came 14 proposals to face this new scenario, to integrate the impact of the COVID and the impact of the visibility that the COVID was enabling. We are integrating all these 14 proposals into different new measures that we are taking in our roadmap, not only in the Women and Science unit, but also in the Observatorio of Women, Science and Innovation. If there is, I don't know if there is any doubts here for this question. I will go later. And okay, I will jump now to talk about this, what we are doing in the Women and Science unit. The Women and Science unit, if I'm not wrong, was created in 2005. And there has been 3 previous directors, the Women and Science unit. And our role, the role of the director of this unit, is to do the follow-up and to provide support and to integrate gender equality and gender mainstreaming in the sectorial policies that they are developing in the areas of in the fields of research, technology, and innovation. And with that in mind, what I did is to develop a kind of a roadmap. What should be for this to become true, for this target to become true. Having to account first, what I did is to understand where the key gender gaps are, to develop a roadmap with 4 pillars. First, we need to measure. If we do not measure, it seems that we are having an opinion, and it's not that. is the best thing to argument with an opinion is the data, no? Is a piece of information. So for that, we need to measure to advance and to do the follow-up, to check, to be audit, to check if what we are doing, we think is that we are doing right, it is really working or not. It might not be working in 1 year, but it might be working in 5 years' time. Notice this. If we are doing what we are saying that we will be doing, and this is working. To make it visible, we need more women reference. We need to make it more visible, the work and the great research that women in this field are doing, for two things. First, because it's a matter of justice. It's that, if they are doing it, it has to be seen in the same terms, in the same way, in the same manner, at the same level as for the colleagues' men. And secondly, because we have an issue at the schools, we have an issue with our children. We need talent. And we need diversity, and we need the best talent. It doesn't matter if that talent is coming from women or from men. So for that, to make sure that we have excellency, and we are, because we know that research and innovation is going to be the motor, no? the engine for the modernization of the development of our country. We have to go to the schools, we have to go to the universities and to get the best. And to get the best, for getting the best, we need to make sure that we can offer stability in the career. And for that, you know that we are now in the process of integrating the tenure track. That was one of the key measures coming from the plan de choque, and now in the resiliencia, the plan de resiliencia, it is there, and it is going to be included with the gender perspective to ensure that it's going to be good for young women and young men. So we inspire them, we attract them, we retain them, and we develop them. That is the idea. And for that, we need for the third pillar, that is transform the institutions, the centers, the organizations where this research is happening. We need to make sure that everyone around us, they have gender perspective, and they know that because the social dynamics, the gender roles and the stereotypes, they are still there. There might be things happening that there are obstacles, visible or invisible, that are affecting women more than men for some circumstances, and men in some others. And last but not least, because we know that it's still, according to NEIGE, to the release for this data in the conference at the end of October, there are still 60 years ahead to be able to talk about real gender equality at EU level. There's some of us that we are a bit more in a hurry than waiting for 60 years. So for that, we need to push for it. We need to ensure that we have strong measures that will accelerate the change. And for that is the fourth pillar. I will explain later on some examples of all these measures that we are taking. Priority areas for the work I'm developing. The first one is to identify and monitor the gaps in research and innovation. Second, to ensure that gender equality is understood and is implemented in research centers, including gender equality plans, sexual harassment protocols. To work gender bias in many ways, developing handbooks, we are developing training, information, etc. Gender dimension, to provide advice to integrate the gender dimension in the evaluation of projects and also in the development of projects, how to do it and how to do it properly. Lots of training. Before starting now, I was implementing a training for our some of our employees that they are in direct contact with claims of sexual harassment, to provide this gender perspective to ensure that these victims are treated properly. So we are doing a lot on this training and gender equality. We develop an itinerary. We have a basic training course of 15 hours, like the basic for our personnel on gender equality. And then we have an advanced course with 25 more hours that is for employees that they are in research in our ministry, in all our FOs and our POs, that they are they have more impact, more direct impact in gender equality. People in human resources, people in health and safety departments, and a lot of directorate personnel, or IPs as well, and for sure gender equality contact points. Leadership and decision making, we are working hard there. Probably we are going to be developing a program that is a mentoring program to ensure that women along their career, they have the skills, added skills for them to provide them the push to be able to promote, to want to promote. Okay. Once first, I need to have this desire, this will, and secondly, if I'm doing it, to ensure that I'm comfortable. No? For that, this leadership skills, this monitoring, work-life balance, as you saw, this is one of the priorities, and also sexual harassment. I was also already mentioning it, so I don't want to say much more on it. Some examples, these scientists in figures, científicas en cifras. We will have the new report. It's a series every 2 years in February 2001. Then we have this year a new report. It's going to be a series that is Women in Innovation, and it's doing this follow-up on how the situation is for women in entrepreneurship and innovation. And also, we are going to be developing a study, and our RFO, this national, state agency of research, is doing this analysis now. No, this is to integrate the gender dimension in calls and grants. We are working hard on that through handbook, guidelines, and also through a specific analysis. And last but not least, next steps. What do we have to carry on and to eradicate or to close these gaps that I was presenting? First, we have a great policy framework. We have our organic law on gender, on effective equality between women and men. This is the bigger, no? We have the Constitution as well, no? But based on the Constitution, we have this organic law. From that, we have our law in science, technology, and innovation. That is one of the key elements, is the integration of gender perspective. But there we have the additional disposition 13 with very specific points on what are the priorities to work on gender equality and integrating the gender perspective in research and innovation. So that is another important step. Coming down to plans and strategies, we have the strategic plan on equal opportunities. They are supposed, and this is coming from the Ministry of Gender Equality. They will be releasing a new one, I hope, at the end of the year. We will see what measures are of application for us and applying to us. And now with this plan of gender equality in the National Government Administration, yesterday was approved. Today will be approved by the Council of Ministers, but yesterday was signed the third plan for equality between women and men in the National Government Administration. It is six areas. 68 measures. I have to read them. I was part of the groups to develop it, but I have to read now, after the negotiation with the trade unions, what the final measures are. I will make sure to adapt these measures to the research field, no? To all our employees. This plan is for all of our employees. It's not outside, no, but inside in everything we do. On top of that, what are we doing now? Next step has been to integrate the gender perspective in our Spanish strategy of science, technology, and innovation. We did it with integrating it as a specific principle that everything we do with this strategy needs to be thought with this gender perspective and gender analysis, and it's also integrated in two parts. First, while talking about attracting, retaining, and developing the career, developing talent, we need to ensure that there are equal opportunities for women, because we know that there are invisible obstacles that maybe left them behind. And the second, to integrate that gender dimension as a key area of that is integrated in the projects, our key area of content for research, and that is an add value. No, that is gender is it might be part of social sciences, but it is also an area of research, and it doesn't have to be a second level. No, sometimes it's okay. This is everyone knows about it. No, that is not true. It is not that simple, and it deserves to have the same acknowledgement, no, as other areas. 3 steps now that we were developing on this roadmap for the future. First one, let's carry on assessing and monitoring what is going on and how it is impacting our new measures. For that, we are developing a statistical system of information with indicators. We will be reorganizing, and in our website, the idea is to have available all the data and statistics, data sets related to gender, equality, or women in science and research and innovation, but also to identify key indicators per each of the areas I was talking about related to gender equality, and that will be the tool to measure if what we are doing is working. Second, this is something that is coming from our law in science, to improve service-related data and information system. We have an information system on science, technology, and innovation, and there we need, as the law is saying, that all data are disaggregated by sex. So we will be focusing on why, in some cases, still the data are not available, to make this adjustment, to make it possible. Third, we are finalizing this week with a team coming from a research team coming from different universities, studying the situation of women in research, but young women, up to 40 years old. We were developing and launching a questionnaire. You might be receiving it, and we are analyzing now with this questionnaire plus focus group they were developing, because this is a research team supporting us. What are the key areas that we need to improve? And based on that, we will be developing recommendations. And last is this women scientists in figures. That is going to be a little bit different from other years, because we are changing the structure and we are including new indicators that is showing more in depth some of the key aspects that we know that are still an issue in terms of gender equality in research and innovation. Step 2 is cooperate and reinforce these networks. This is 1 + 1 is more than 2. Then what we are doing is to reinforce the structure, gender equality structure within the ministry, within the RPOs and RFOs, working together, coordinating, offering support to in my case, offering the support from my expertise and my area of knowledge to those that they don't have it, and copy-pasting. Sometimes they don't have to repeat and starting from zero. And we want to do that also with civil society, with experts coming from the universities in gender equality, and with anyone that is interested and it might be adding value to these groups that we are creating. Now I will explain it through the Observatorio of Women Science and Innovation. The idea is adding our efforts and to have everyone involved. For that, what we have this, we have this new structure, this Observatory of Science, Women Science and Innovation. The plenary now is presidency is on the Minister of our Pedro Duque, and they were approving on the 10th of November the work program 2021-2022. I will invite you just to read it, because it's a quite comprehensive work program with 5 priority areas, and we work lines of work in each of them, and we have very specific targets, something to achieve for the next 2 years. And based on this program, we have been developing a structure of permanent committees plus working groups. And in these working groups is where we work to integrate also experts and civil society and people coming from the universities or from associations, etc., to add, to work on specific targets and to go from top to down, showing where the key gaps are and how the situation is, and also adding or proposing new measures that might be working. That is on the side on the commission, on the observatory. And in the case of the UMyC, what we are doing is developing a series of guidelines supporting our RPOs and RFOs in different areas like sexual harassment, work-life balance, women and decision making, and what else? And gender bias as well, etc. And last but not least, as you were, we are developing now specific trainings and online training, and also from these whole ones to this focus on one topic ones to provide support to our RPOs. And the last one is this accelerating the chain I was talking. This is two examples, how to change things, how to transform, and how to accelerate the situation in organizations. We are developing a gender equality distinction that is going to be for open next year for our RPOs and also for universities and for research inside hospitals. That's the idea, that they can apply for it, and it's a way to make visible that they are working, for those that they are working hard in gender equality, to show it, to have this recognition, this acknowledgement, and for those that they are not, to motivate them, to guide them, especially because you know that the New Horizon Europe, the gender equality plans are going to be a criteria of eligibility, so we will have to work hard on that field. And secondly, we are going to be analyzing the gender impact on the grants and calls. What is going on? What is the success rate in calls in human resources and also in research? So these are two examples. I might have more, but I don't know how much. Yeah, I've reached this 1 hour, so we have time now for some questions. Thank you so much for your time, and I really share this statement, that now is more, it's the real opportunity. Now is more than ever. We have in a good position, in a good situation, in a good timing for gender equality in science and innovation. So thank you so much. You have my email there for further questions, and if not, yes, I will just wait now for your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zulema, for this great seminar, very complete. You gave us a very broad overview of everything related to gender issues in science and what is going on in the field. And well, it's time for getting questions. If anyone can write or can maybe say something in the chat so we can give you the time. If not, I have some questions.
Isabel.
Well, Isabel is okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, Zulema. Thank you very much. I have several questions, so maybe I just ask some of them. My first question, well, I went writing down as the talk. My question is if the unit is going to try to, so how is the unit going to reduce the unconscious bias? Meaning, so is there any plan to give courses to the people that is in these evaluation panels for grants or positions?
Yeah, with that one, what we are going, we are many ways. The first one, I don't know if you know that this open consultation for the reform of the science law. Do you know that?
No.
That is very important. You have this now in our website, this open consultation, and that is the new text of the new proposal, where there is the tenure track included. That means just to reinforce the stability of your career. And there I have the opportunity of reinforcing this unconscious bias. I know that the unconscious bias is not going to solve all the problems, but I think I have the duty of ensuring in many ways that this is done. So, First, is this gonna be? I just provide this proposal that is integrated in many different manners in along the new test. And what I'm doing is working through training. So, for instance, in the state agency, the State Agency of Research, we are developing training for the committees. They are doing it already. They have these videos, they have these some checklists. What we are developing first is one guide. We have these guidelines that is going to be available for everyone. So this is one way. You have the guidelines, you read the guidelines. We are developing a short video based on those guidelines. So depending on the time you have 15 minutes, you read the guidelines. You have 4, you have this short video. Plus, we think that we also need to provide one face-to-face training, because what you find is like, no. These things of gender equality is already from the past, from the 70s, from last century. So my approach is to go for unconscious bias. It's not gender bias is part of this unconscious bias. So if we explain to everyone that we all have bias. And if I have someone in front of me that is coming to my selection committee and it is like my brother or like my child, unconsciously, my scoring is going to be better. I cannot avoid it unless 2 things. I'm aware of this bias and the process is so objective that they can do it. I was providing this training last year with the Tribunal for the diplomats. The new career of diplomats, they were very concerned on it. And they were asking for this training, and I was doing both. It was 2 hours and a half training. They were all together, and I was providing them this awareness of having this bias. They were quite concerned. Oh my God, I didn't know I was like that. And the second one, providing tips on how to make their evaluation more objective. And there were things very simple, like, oh, okay, you are looking for someone that is a leader. Let's define leader, and let's define behaviors that they are connected to leadership. That is an example. And then there is this whole debate of what is the criteria for the excellency in research, that it would be another debate. But for unconscious bias, we are doing many things now. And we are going to carry on, because for me, it's one of the key things that might have the biggest impact in changing some things.
Can I ask another question? So if
I don't know.
Okay, so my second question is so because now so I think this has to go with this grant projects that is now the call is open now, and now the institutions, they have to provide a gender equality plan, but it doesn't say that this plan has to be implemented. So how is this going to change anything? Because I'm just talking about, for example, the CSIC or some huge universities. Of course, they already have a gender equality plan, but it is so big for the entire institution that sometimes you are in a small institute somewhere in Aragon and you don't have this plan really implemented. So how this is going to affect the change?
We have this debate, and we did it as well with the gender equality, the distintivo, the IGUALDAD, because we have the same problem. We were discussing, okay, if one of the criteria for getting this distintivo, the distinction, is to have a gender equality plan, imagine that I'm, as you are saying, I'm part of the University Complutense, but I'm very far away, a little center, and we don't even know that there is this plan. It might be different. It might be that a huge organization with very good project or very good things, the gender equality, they don't have a plan, no? So the first thing we did with the distintivo is a mapping on how the situation is, more or less. And then we are going to explore both situations. Okay, we want this distinction at the level of the center because we want to impact at the level of each center, even that one in Aragon. Otherwise, nothing is going to change in Aragon. You might have this plan signed in a box for many years, but then there is no one implementing in it. For the plan and for the eligibility, we are still waiting how it's going to be defined in this, because they were, according to what they were saying, there's going to have these centers that are going to have 18 months, more or less, for adjusting, for developing, but they're even going to guide what kind of areas might be compulsory within the plan. What we are going to be doing for sure in the Women's and Science unit is auditing and supporting. Let's do it on the other way, supporting and auditing. Because if I'm telling you I'm going to be auditing you, then everyone will hate me. That is one of the ideas. But if what we are going to be doing is to create with the TID probably a teamwork of advising. Because now it's going to be many projects that there are going to be many project leaders that are going to be asking us, okay, how do we do it? How do I just persuade my organization to develop the plan? How do I start with doing the plan? So we were discussing it now. We will have this support. We are thinking of providing, preparing and providing a regular basis training on how to develop this, how do you develop a gender equality plan, minimum. And for that, we have very good basis now, because I don't know if you know that in a few weeks ago, it was approved the Royal Decree for Gender Equality for business companies. That is really good, and that my advice is to take it as an example, as a model. They have an annex that is very comprehensive for the diagnosis and for what should be in any organization. So with those bases, we will be providing that support. And in the framework of the observatory, we are gonna do this follow-up auditing. It's not gonna be me, so no one hate me. It's gonna be the observatory. And in the observatory, we will be developing a report. There's gonna be a teamwork, checking what is going on with the gender equality plans, because otherwise, might be that no one is implementing. In our case, me with my RPOs, I'm developing for them an online platform, because sometimes you don't have people, sometimes you don't have the expertise, sometimes you don't have time. So I'm just in a very easy, friendly way, I'm asking them data. They provide the data. It's still not ready because I was waiting for this plan that was approved yesterday for the whole administration. Once we know the measures, then I will develop for them the indicators. They integrate the indicators, and I can prepare the report for them. And that report, if we do it well, it is going to be auditing if you are implementing or not, but at the same time, it's going to guide you in what is still to be improved. But the challenge there is what we are saying, Isabel, is like, okay, but what does it mean? It's going to ask that what is going on in Aragon or no? That is going to be the next step. First, we are creating the structure. And then when we have it, for instance, in CSIC, they are now doing the same as we were doing. When I arrived, I started creating this structure of meeting the gender equality contact points in all my RPOs and all my RFOs. So at the beginning it was, oh my God, more work. But when they realized that it's working, that we are organizing, we are learning from each other, we are setting good practices, is 2 hours maximum every 2 months, they are copying and doing the same in CSIC. And if they do the same in CSIC, they will reach Aragon. At some point, they will ask Aragon, okay, do you have a contact point in equality? Okay, how do you work? What do you need? Because maybe what you don't have, Zulema has it, and they can just, so it's create the channels. So we are working first on the structures, but we need time. And with gender equality, you know, that is not, is long-term run.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel and Zulema. Anyone else? No? Well, I can also take the chance to ask you something. Well, my first question was related to Isabel's one. And just to be clear, our main question is regarding the Horizon Europe. Will it be enough to have the CSIC gender equality plan, or do we need to prepare our own small equality plan?
No.
And also the other thing is we are a hybrid institute. So we have people from the university and also from CSIC. How are we going to implement a double gender equality plan? This is going to be
challenging.
Yeah.
Do you have a committee, a structure, a gender equality committee?
Yes.
Okay, so for sure, you will not need to develop a specific plan for your center. I haven't asked anyone, but if the gender equality plan for CSIC has been okay, so until now we are not gonna make things more complicated for excellency and for achieving the projects. The thing now is to wait for this the developments of these criteria. As Isabel was saying, do you need to show that you are implementing this plan in real life, or you just need to show it that you have the plan and that's it? Because that is, for me, this criteria should be an opportunity for accelerating, for bringing, and for the committees to say, look, come on, we have to do something. Now the plan is there. We were ignoring the plan because we didn't have time. Might be for our own sake that we do not need to develop a new one, but at least let's take some measures and let's start like having a roadmap. No, I call it a work program. Okay, this year, that's a chronogram, no, and a schedule. Let's do something. And in the sense of which one will be prevail, the university one or the other one, I have no clue. What for sure is not gonna be is not gonna be against you when in the code. It should be only be a plus. But that might be a very important question: is in which one will prevail, which one will, or we say that we have both, because if we say we have both, they might be asking us, it's like, oh, how you implement both. So that I cannot provide the answer, but I think it's very interesting for you to just start asking.
I have a question.
Yeah, Anna.
So this is Ana Rojas. I'm a PI of the CABD, and I want to thank you for your talk. It was very illustrative, and I think it says very scary things, right? So I have two questions. The first one is regarding the double track career. I mean, according to my experience in other countries, there are actually programs in place where you are kind of offering a starting package or a work package or whatever conditions to the partner, okay? The partner of the women, in order to increase the attraction. Because now what we are trying to deal here is, in my opinion, against a cultural thing, okay? So we are kind of, okay, I will go to my job's position because it's, it's good for him. But doing the otherwise thing, the opposite thing, is very, very hard. So I have, in my own experience, women that will be in principle attracted to come to a research institution, but the lack of a double career program will prevent them to join, okay? So my question is regarding this issue. Is there any kind of a budget or agenda or planning or policy regarding this double career issue?
Ana Maria, do you mean that if your partner is also working in research or anything?
Anything else.
Okay. I remember that was something that they were discussing with the minister in the meeting that they had, because one of them, she was specifically mentioning, the idea, she was saying, my problem is not kids. I might have kids, but my problem is mobility. Exactly. Anytime I'm moving, what's going on with my partner? For that, I can provide you, we don't have budget. I can tell you, we don't have a specifically budget now. What I can tell you is I have it in my own agenda. My problem is with the agenda is that I have the agenda so full that the best thing is to be organized, no? And then let's set priorities first. And the first thing I will like, because I think the impact is going to be very positive on most people, women and men, is the tenure track. and the tenure track with a gender perspective, making sure that this timing dedicating to work-life balance is not included in the timing, no counting for from showing this criteria, this scientific production. In terms of this agenda, double career, I have this good practice coming from this our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have this issue. They have a diplomat, and with the diplomat, there are more men that they go anywhere because the wives, they leave everything and they follow. But for women, they realized some time ago that they are less will to leave, or the husband, they don't want to, because then they have to quit their own career. That is a cultural thing. They are doing now, they are at the same time, they have this in the agenda, and what they are doing is looking at the gender equality plan that they have in our external space at EU level. They have one of the most advantaged gender equality plans, and it's not easy to find it. I remember because I'm normally following good practices everywhere, just to copy or just to transfer. It's not easier to transfer these practices and adapt them in our field. So there, the external action service, this has the same issue. They have many positions, and they realize that there are less women going abroad. There's external service, and you can go anywhere, representing as a diplomat the EU. What they are doing is that they are preparing these packages, and it's working extremely well.
Yeah.
So I know where to go. I know where to look for how to develop it. The issue, it might be this budgeting. But I think I don't know how things are gonna go today with the approval of the budget, because I think it was today. But we will have good years in the future. And in the situation, as I was saying in my last slide, it might not be better. It might not be better for trying to push for good for these kind of actions. They might not be all at the same time, but that does not mean that we are gonna be forgetting them, because there is one specific group, and I will be really interested in anyone from here to remind me in a few months in January, because there is a specific group on work-life balance for research. Because I know that I need creativity and new ideas in that working group, and that working group is within the observatory. So there is where this proposal should go. And then I will take this gender equality action plan that they have in the external action service to show that it's possible. And it's okay. It's not that something new that we are inventing. We might be taking good practices that you are saying, but it is true that for that we need that. We need people that they are aware, that they know it is working in other places, and to find ways to adapt it. So this is a long version to tell you that yes, it is
okay. Good. Thank you. And my last question is regarding sexual harassment, okay? Because I remember from my times in the US, the concept, there is a huge cultural differences there, okay? About what is seen as sexual harassment, or, I mean, anything there could be seen as sexual harassment, like, getting too close in the corridor, because the corridor is, I remember when I was walking around, the guys were kind of jumping into the walls, So my question is, in this which kind of criteria are we using to delineate here in Spain, for instance, or other different or European heritage countries, what is sexual harassment and what is not? Are we getting all these criteria from the US-based policies, or are we doing something different?
We cannot define the criteria, and it depends on where you are. I mean,
okay.
If you are the judge, then you have it well defined.
Yeah.
And you are not only considering one specific situation in an ISO, but different objective situations and conduct that all of them together, they can take this guy to jail. Yeah. And that is from the criminal point of view. From the social point of view, there is a huge difference between what is sexual harassment now and what was sexual harassment before. I was in my previous session, I was telling you what I've been 2 hours and a half explaining the risk health and safety teams what sexual harassment is. And I was very clear that sexual harassment is what the victim is perceiving as sexual harassment. So if I'm perceiving that what you told me is something that makes me feel intimidated, then I want everyone to believe me. That is the achievement that we need, but that is something that is more social level. That is something that it came with the Me Too movement. There is this Me Too in STEM movement, I think it's in Chile, that they were highlighting how this situation is in STEM. I don't work in research. I don't work in Aragon. I don't work in a research center, and I don't know how the situation is. But I've been working in prison. I'm prison psychologist. I've been working in 2007. I've been coming and going. I've been working in an area with lots of men. Masculinizada, with lots of men, and I've been myself focused, the victim of situations. So it depends what for you want to define sexual harassment. But I was providing this example before. I was head of treatment. I was member of the management board in the prison of Madrid here in Madrid, and I was the only woman. I was the youngest, and I have all my colleagues, the director, they were men, and also all the key bosses that we have, the heads that they are inside prison, the security heads, they were behind me, and they were all men. And one morning, we have meetings every morning, and one morning they were coming joking, making a joke about the wife of one of them. They were one was laughing, but me, I didn't. And he was apologizing me, and my answer was, no, do not apologize me, apologize your wife. For me, that was an example. It is not sexual harassment. That is the the sexism environment where we women are, that is crossing the line. If I just laugh with them, next step and next step and next step will be. So for me, it depends on the perception. And sometimes it's much better to set things clear. It's like, no, I don't have to. To stand what this kind of jokes and everything, and might not be sexual harassment, but it is a sexist environment that it will be a starting point. I don't know if I answer more or less your.
I understand clearly, because I also myself, the field I work, I've been the only woman in many team guys all the time, and sometimes it's more like it's not sexual harassment, but it could be very sexist, right? But we have to make this difference very clear, because they are profoundly different. I mean, to my point of view. So I think the younger generations, they don't suffer this kind of things, and they might be confusing things. So I think training this kind of concepts is also very important. This is what. Okay, so thank you so much for. I will not take more of your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Nacho.
If there is time, So hi, I'm Nacho. I would like to ask you about the distinction for the research institute, and how are you planning to implement it? Is it going to be similar to the Athena's one in UK? So depending on the distinction you get, you could apply to certain grants, but not to others. So in general, how is it going to impact in the grant Spanish system?
That we have a research team providing an analysis on 5 different distinctions that they are now. This team was the one that was developing the distinction for business companies, that they have gender equality in organizations in the Ministry of Equality. This team was the one developing that one. So what they did is they were offering us up to 10 different distinctions in research and innovation or something similar. And out of those 10, we were choosing 5 that they might be the best practices for us to take and to adapt. Based on those, we are first mapping and the centers at universities that they might be interested in applying and what the situation is. It doesn't make any sense if our criteria are very high and the situation in gender equality is low, then no one will apply. And then based on those 5, they are proposing, I'm asking them to propose 2 models. One like the Athena's one, that they have like a matrix. It depends on your area of work. I cannot ask the same gender equality in the Instituto Astrofísica de Canarias as in the Instituto de Salud Carlos III, because they have more women in one place, they have less women in another place, and the situation, the starting point is different. So we might have a matrix depending on the area of the field of research, and also of the how big the center is. As Isabel was saying before, it's not the same if I'm an institute huge with a lot of employees, or we are very few people. And based on that, we might have 2 models. The one like Athena's one, that is oro, plata, bronce, like we have 3 levels, and then you can start, and then you have this room for improvement, or yes or no. We are not yet, we don't know yet, because it's not easy, because we don't have the money as Athena's one has. Our situation is different as theirs. In terms of research in general and investment in research and the stability of our researchers. So we want to make sure what this distinction is for. And this distinction is to accelerate and to accelerate change in gender equality. So we want that not to punish researchers while applying for grants, but to change organizations and support them in making this change. Therefore, first will be just to define the distinction, and next step is to map how we are, to include it in the grants. The state agency, they have it very clear. They want it in the grant. They want to be a criteria. It's like, no, you have a distinction, you have 1 more point, 2 more points, but otherwise, they will not serve for anything, no? But you have this distinction, but there is no more than the visibility that we did well. The only way to change things is to transform organizations is through money. We have it clear, but we need to make sure that it is the right time to do so. I think that in terms of equality, we need to have it very clear that we go step by step, and the steps are strong. But if we accelerate, we might have these flashbacks, and we might not be so having so good many benefits for women even as we expected. So I think that is it's better just to take a little more of time to make sure that the impact is long term.
Thank you so much.
So just related to this, may I ask something? Because well, the CSIC has its own award for gender equality for all the institutes, and something that we were talking about in our committee, in our gender committee, many times, is that this model that will be similar to the model that you mentioned of yes or not, for us is promoting more the competitivity. This is more a race for who is getting the award, and is not contributing to a more diverse or more let's say feminine way of doing things. And this is related to something else that you said before regarding the importance of working towards leadership of women. And for all other thought that we had also in our committee was we have to be very careful of how to define, as you said, leadership, because many times we find organizations or a situation in which women are asked to be different than they are. actually they are asked to be like men for being successful in science. And this is what this is actually a reflection. I don't know what you think about this. It became a reflection more than a question, but I wanted also to ask you, what do you think about this, this small...
I completely, is this an example? How was the pandemic? How was the pandemic? How was the reaction? Who did it best for the pandemic? Did you read this news? You didn't? Yes.
No, I didn't, but yeah.
Okay, look for they were leaders. The leaders that they were dealing with the pandemic best, they were women. And that was something really good, that they were showing that the leadership, the definition of leadership, it is very different. And that is what diversity is bringing, that it doesn't have to be a specific way of defining leadership. And even if there are some other ways, in this case, it might be the ways, not because we are women, it's because we are being educated through the model of caring ethic, and we like it or not, it's like that. Then when we look at our country and we decide what are the best measures, the measures is not talk about a war. And all around the world, when we have been talking about the pandemic, we have been talking at a war, at a battle, and it was, we have to compete, we have to gain. No, if you go to Arnica Ardens, the Jacinda Ardens from New Zealand, she was at home with a sweater through Facebook, sharing with her people how they were and how she was, and showing them that she was as scared as they were. And she was asking in a different manner about individual responsibility. And the aim was the same, the target was the same, the strategy was different. But the problem is that, are we learning from those differences? Do we really want to learn from those differences? So this is bringing the reflection. Advice. First, sometimes we have to be strategic. We as women, we as anyone working in any field. Example, gender equality, gender-based violence. There are some people that they still do not believe that gender-based violence is something to address. Then you just get the bill. It's like, look, what is cost if this man is killing his wife? Look what is cost if you invest in prevention. And then it's like, oh my God, how can we measure? How can we measure in money the life of someone? This is horrible, but then it's working. So it is this double measure. So for the distinction, bringing this example to the distinction. Okay, are we competing? Yeah, we are competing. We know that we don't want that. We want again to gain. We want to cooperate. We want to bring together. We will do that here. But here we want a ranking, and we want to show who is doing it well, and showing that they are great in this, but not because they have good plans. It's because they are implementing the plans and because they have women in leadership. So if they are competing and the competition is good, fine. That does not mean that we are not changing, working on diversity, for instance, in the Observatorio. In the Observatorio, we have teams. We will have people discussing, reflecting, changing things. First, we need to make sure that women, they go to the top. When women are at the top, we know, because of the practice, that they will design the world in a different way. They will be asking them to carry on doing the same, but, okay, tell me whatever you want, but women, the ones that they are achieving, they are reaching top positions, they are doing things differently, many of them. So the more women we have, the more opportunities we will have to diversity. It doesn't have to be pink or blue, but we will have this diversity. But it's true that as strategies, we will have to have always the reflection. Let's focus, let's think if this is, what are the advantage or disadvantage of going this way. But sometimes you have to follow the mainstream way, just to reach. And then once you go there, you will be changing things.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, well, it's quite late. It was so interesting, and so the debate. So I think we all enjoy it a lot. And thank you very much, Zulema, for being here. Thank you everyone for also attending this seminar. It's not easy to get people coming to this seminar, so this is a great success for us. We have today, I think, almost 30, more than 30 people. That was very nice. And yes, thank you very much. We look forward for any collaboration, to keep the contact. I think it would be beneficial for everyone. So thank you very much.
That is great.
And goodbye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this chance. Okay, let's keep in touch.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.